after I graduated from Purdue, I had a lot of interviews from different places, both in Indiana and then, of course, the one up here in Waukegan. Uh, I interviewed and I got offers from several different companies, but I loved outboard motors because I've had them when I was a kid. And I built two boats of my own. So when I got interviewed by Outboard Marine, uh, I showed them pictures of what I had built and stuff, and then I got a letter from them saying they wanted to see me at the company, and then I come up here for interview, and I got hired, and I spent 33, 34 years.
It was from 59 to 96?
Yeah.
37 and a half.
Yeah. And that, I come in as a development engineer and left as a senior project manager. I enjoyed the company, and shortly after I left, the company sold out. And then now it's almost non-existent. We don't have the volume. When I was working there, we were making 500,000 outboards a year. And when they had left and went up to Wisconsin here, they were only doing about 20,000 outboards a year.
So at one time, before they moved to Wisconsin, didn't they transferred a lot of the work to Kentucky or somewhere?
No, they had a plant in Mexico.
Juarez.
Okay.
Juarez,
Okay.
Mexico, and then we had a plant over I can't think of the thing in Bellevue.
Okay.
But and we had a plant in Milwaukee.
Okay.
It was in one of course in here in Waukegan. So it had a lot of facilities. It's just a shame that how they got new management because the older guys that knew outboards retired, and they hired in people that had nothing to do and knew anything about outboard motors and stuff. And ever since then, they kept losing business, and they finally ended up having to sell out. And that was really a shame. But that was right after I had retired.
That was one of the 4 or 5 big industry in Waukegan.
It was the biggest
that pretty
outboard
much
industry
employed everybody here in this town.
Yeah, it did. We had we did a lot of here. We did machining and die casting and assembly here. And in Milwaukee, they did machining of crank shafts and pistons. So we had a big outfit and a lot of work. But I just can't get over how it went downhill. We were the leading outboard manufacturer in the world.
Right.
And then we lost it all.
So what did you like about working at Outboard Marine?
Well, just working with outboards, because I always loved them. I always had outboards when I was a kid. My dad had a little 3-horse Champion when I was little and run it around up in Barbie Lake in Indiana. But then I bought a 10-horse Chris Craft outboard, and I made a boat, a little racing boat for it. So I was always in my life, and I had a 7.5-horse Scott Atwater. So I've had a lot of outboards when I was a kid, all the way up through high school. So I just loved them. And when I got this offer here, it fell right in line for me, because it's something I knew a lot about.
Okay. Tell us about the friends you met at work.
Oh, shit. We had a lot of people that I worked with there, and only I think one time I had to straighten one guy out about he was doing some sarcastic flirting with the girls, office girls.
Okay.
And they told me about it, and so I had to get him and tell him. I says, if I hear any more about this from them, you're going to be fired. And then he straightened right out. But most of the time, the people working down there was really nice people, and some of them we still see what we call the Hungry Bunch. We go out once a month to eat out at different places, and so we still
All these years.
see some of them.
How many are left?
Oh,
5, 6.
5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So John Langley and Al Miller, are they still
They
around?
were part of that at one time, but they're deceased now.
Okay.
And John was when I first went to OMC, he was my boss.
Okay.
Because he came from another outboard company, and I forget the name of it right now from hand.
Kiefer?
Huh?
Kiefer?
No, but there's one over in Wisconsin.
Oh.
But anyhow, he was a great guy to work for, and he got me started. After he left, and I kind of took over that same area that he had. It was all small engines up to the 40 horsepower I had control of as a manager. And we ran a lot of tests and stuff on them. It was interesting work. I enjoyed the place.
What about the Flambeau Flocker's annual men's canoe trip on Father's Day?
Yeah, that was something that John Langley knew the guys from up around Chippewa Falls, because he lived there before he came here. And he knew some of the guys that were in the Boy Scouting up there. And when he got down here, he told us that they go out to canoe every year. Usually it was on Father's Day for a while, I know, many a year. And so that's when we got our own group here, which was about 4 or 5 of us from this area that worked down at OMC, went up there too. And we had, at one time we had 70 canoes.
Wow.
That big a group going down the river at one time, and we had that.
How many people in each canoe?
2, just 2 people usually.
Tell them about the pie.
Oh, then they'd have to make their meals in the evening, because we go down the river and stay overnight on the riverbank. And they'd make pies and have about 7 or 8 pies all spread out on the. Turn the canoe over and we have the bottom of the canoe. Homemade pies made in the woods along the river.
So who cooked? Who made the pies?
One of the guys that did it. You know.
Okay.
They brought this stuff. All you had to do is to bake them in the stoves and furnace, like little things that they put over the regular bonfire, and have the pie in it, and that's how it.
That's interesting.
Cooking. And out of that group, we still have on a monthly eat out usually, and 2 of them have passed away out of that group, and the rest of us are still here. And we're all getting up in age and getting slow. And
So
how many years did the annual trip last?
Lots of trip.
Oh my golly, I can't believe it had to be 40 years. Oh no,
No.
25 years.
Okay.
I know of 25 years.
You had steak.
And I still think, I'm not sure whether they're doing it now or not, but none of our group goes with it any longer.
Okay.
Because I can't do it, you know. I could go along, but I couldn't carry the canoes and do all that kind of walking and stuff.
Right, you had steak too and peach cobbler.
Oh, I know. We had all kinds of food.
Sounds like you had a great adventure with OMC.
And we'd go fishing and we'd catch bass and.
Tell them about the rapids.
Well, rapids. I told you, we went down to the rapids there, and it was dangerous if you didn't know what you was doing. I've been lucky when I was doing it. But we had one canoe go over, and the canoe wrapped around the rocks. The current just bent the canoe, aluminum canoe, and we had to take it up on the bank and do an Indian war dance in it to straighten it out. and put tape, if it cracked the sides or anything, we put duct tape on it so they could float it down the river. But we had a few of them once in a while get bagged up pretty bad, but none of my canoes ever had that problem.